What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about what are some things that the next-gen consoles can do to help Hogwarts Legacy. So, look, the game, I mean, it's a coin flip still of whether it would be on current-gen, next-gen. Okay, technically, we don't really know. If it comes out fall of 2021, it's definitely a possibility. It can come out on both. It makes sense. You guys probably know my opinions on that by now, is that I'm not a really big fan of those kind of things. That normally gets people very, very angry, so we'll just kind of leave that, and I can explain that in different videos if you guys want me to. But the general thing is, I mean, no matter what, even if it's on PS4 and Xbox One, or PC, whatever, but it'll also be on PS5 and Series X, okay, for sure. So I want to talk about what are the things that those consoles can do to help this game out. And to me, I'm going to save the biggest thing, okay? And it is exclusive to one console, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm going to save the biggest thing till the end. I want to talk firstly just about, and it's not really something we can, like, pinpoint, like I can actually say, like, oh, this is a measurable thing, something that we can actually measure, right? Is the looks, how it runs. Loading times is a big thing with these next-gen systems, right? We heard a lot of that with the PlayStation, PS5, and funny enough, when they came out, a lot of the backwards compatible games, a lot of like the third-party games, the Series X is actually faster. It actually loads faster, but when it comes to exclusives, when it comes to games that are made for next gen, I think that's where the PS5 is really going to take off. That's where those loading times are going to be next to zero, whereas Series X will still have a little bit. But again, this is not a console war video. By no means is it going to be slow. So you could say that's unimportant, but in reality, look, and I'm not gloating. I'm not, because I know somebody will say, "Oh, lucky you," or something like that, and that's stupid. So I have the PS5, okay? Lucky me. And it is, like, the loading is actually incredible. There's no, and again, I'm not saying that to gloat. I'm saying that to say it does change things. And you may think, okay, well, loading doesn't really affect me all that much. It does, though. Because when you turn on the console, for it to immediately turn on. For when you click on the game, for it immediately to go in the game. When you're going from a location to location, when you're fast traveling, and it loads in 2 to 4 seconds. That's a lot different than 20, 25, 15, however many seconds. It's a big difference. And the difference is it keeps you like mesmerized and just connected to that world more. If you have loading screens, if you have break points basically in your game where you're taken out of it because the game has to load itself, you are, it is a small thing, but I really do think it makes kind of a difference. Like when I was playing Miles, I was literally in New York playing as Miles the whole time. There was no loading. There wasn't. I mean, very, very little. I was in that world the entire time. I didn't have to wait for something. I was just there. Demon Souls, when I die, I have about a quarter of a second to get ready to do it again, okay? And I have done that about 1 trillion times because I suck at that game, okay? So Hogwarts Legacy, the loading, it really is a big deal. It's for both. Again, PS5 was talked up more, but in reality, it is for both. Both of them, we're going to be in this world very, very quickly, and when we move around it, things are going to load fast. We're going to be just engrossed in that world, whether it's Hogwarts, whether it's Hogsmeade, very, very quickly. The look of the game. Now, again, all of these things, maybe the PC users are saying, thank God you guys finally caught up, right? Because we've been here for a while. And that's fair. That's fine. I'm not necessarily talking about the PC stuff, but console, I don't know, it's what I do. I'm not against PC at all. In fact, I want to build myself a high-end PC over the next 1 to 2 years. I am a console guy, though, just in general. I guess just a fun fact about Alex here. But in terms of how they look, I mean, yeah, as we get games for these next-gen systems and as the years go on, in case you guys didn't know, they will look better, right? And I think the trailer looked very, very solid. I think if you look even at which we looked at last video, right, the leaked gameplay of a few years ago. I mean, it is incredible what the game looks like. Now, it does look a little bit like Sims. I don't think that's an unfair thing to say out loud or like a Disney Infinite or whatever, but I mean, it does look really good, really, really good. So obviously, visually, we know it's going to be improved. The frames per second. Now, a game like this, I don't really know if it's going to need to be like a 60 FPS kind of thing. Maybe. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but I feel like it would be okay for it to, clock in at 30. Obviously the 4K, the high dynamic range for like the lighting. These are all things that, I mean, I guess they're obvious, but they are absolutely things that this game is going to benefit off of. Like I said, I think, honestly, Well, you could talk about ray tracing, and I don't honestly know if they're doing ray tracing. I would imagine they are not, and there's nothing wrong with that. Demon Souls doesn't have ray tracing. Miles does, and I would argue Demon Souls still looks better, and it's only because it's only a PS5 game. It's not also on PS4, whereas Miles is PS4 and PS5. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. And that's the thing too. That if you guys are wondering why I don't love for games to be on both consoles, especially a year after they're out, is that it can be held back. So would you want a Hogwarts Legacy at its full potential only on next gen, or do you want it, which is probably what's going to happen, built for current gen, built for PS4 and Xbox One, and then upped a little bit for next gen, where really you're not getting the full-on product it could be because they had to make it for the lowest common denominator, and that's just how games are. In case people didn't know, you make games for the lowest spec option, and then you up everything after that. And a lot of time, and you can only up it so much, right? And it takes resources, it takes time, it takes people, all that good stuff. So the last thing I want to say, though, and this is to me, this is a game-changing feature. I've talked about this on its own. It's time I get into Hogwarts Legacy so you guys that maybe haven't watched the other videos know what I'm talking about, is the DualSense controller. Now, yes, it is exclusive just to PlayStation, but my God, you have to trust me here. You have to trust me here. It is game-changing. When you see online people saying that the DualSense controller is the most next-gen thing about next-gen, they are not lying. They are 100% correct. The PS5 is next-gen. Series X is next-gen. The DualSense controller is something else. The vibrations, you feeling literal things moving inside the controller to represent what you're doing in the game is next level. The triggers, being able to literally lock you out in some cases, is incredible. The sounds that come out of this thing, it's bigger. It's got a more feel to an Xbox controller, which I know a lot of people like the shape and the way everything's put together in the Xbox controller. It is, I'm truly telling you, amazing. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's like VR. When VR first came out and how everybody said, it's incredible, it's this, it's that, but we really can't explain it to you. Like, you need to play it. You need to actually see what VR is because we can't just tell it to you. You're never going to get the full scope of what we're talking about until you put the thing on. The PSVR may not be the greatest VR system on the planet. However, I also do have the Oculus Quest, and that thing is absolutely amazing as well. They're right. You can explain VR, but you can't really until somebody puts it on. The DualSense, I truly think it's the same thing. You can talk about how everything feels. I can tell you that swinging through the city has this feel or that feel in Miles, but you really don't know what I'm talking about fully until you do it. So I know I'm only talking. I mean, people that have the PS5 and have the DualSense, you guys know what's going on. People that don't, you're hearing me, you're saying, oh, wow, he's really pumping it up, but you may not know, and that's okay. I truly think the controller can be I mean, this is not even a joke, game-changing for Hogwarts Legacy. Now, if they use it, because there is no guarantee they use it. The controller is optional for any developer. It's much like the PS4 with the light bar and the touchpad. Some developers used it a lot. Some used it a little. Some didn't use it at all. Some used it for the map. You touch the touchpad, it's the map of the game, okay? That's all they did for it. If Avalanche Software, if they use the DualSense all the way, this could be incredible. To feel yourself walking, to feel the magic in a weird way. I don't even know how I don't even think that made sense. In fact, it didn't make sense. And I don't even care. I don't even care that didn't make sense. To feel you moving a spell. Imagine this. This is just one quick example. So imagine R2 or the right trigger on Xbox is like a shooting spell, okay? But you can only use so much. So say there's like a gauge where you can only use so much magic, which I assume there will be, and you run out. Imagine if you go to press it and he goes to do the spell and it doesn't work. Like it fizzles in the game, but then on the controller, maybe it shocks you a little bit. Now, I don't necessarily know how it shocks, like it'll vibrate. It'll vibrate like big time. Or what if they just what if when you press R2, it locks you halfway? And it can do that. It can actually, in Astro's Playroom, it does that. When you press the trigger, it actually can lock you and they've talked about even for like shooting games that have guns, in that they can actually lock you out of pressing those, or like there'll be heavy resistance, and that'll be when you run out of ammo. You'll need to reload. I mean, that's just one example. Think about that. Think about it. That is absolutely insane. And again, I know it maybe sounds like a small detail, but truly trust me, guys. I loved the DualShock. I did. I mean, I was probably in the minority there. I really loved the DualShock controller. I never want to go back to it. I would never play Spider-Man on a PS4 with a DualShock ever again, because it's just not even close to the same as Miles. I will never want to play Demon's Souls on the PS3 again, because I've played on PS5 with the DualSense. I know it's just me saying it. Hopefully we built some sort of trust with each other over the last 2 years that I've been talking about this game. Hopefully you guys trust, my foresight on these kind of things. This is incredible. I truly do believe that. So when we talk about what next gen can do, obviously, yeah, if they do ray tracing, that's going to be incredible. Just a more steady frame rate and things, not like the distance, everything being able to load in where you're not having like pop-ins, like those things, the graphics, the loading times. It's all going to be fantastic, okay? But honestly, the DualSense to me is the biggest and best thing. So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think? Should this be on both? Should it only be on next gen? Let me know that, as well as all the other stuff. What do you think next gen consoles can do for this game? Let me know. As always, like I always say, make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. As always, you can follow me on Twitter, PodcastNow15. I have a Discord server if you guys want to join that. I also have a second channel, Podcast Now Plus, the word plus, not the actual symbol, and you can subscribe there as well, okay? Thank you all so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.